£125 million striker finally finding his fire, a £70 million exit that could fund a revolution, and an 18-year-old wonder kid set to embarrass Manchester United. As Andoni Iraola prepares to take the reins at Anfield, the squad is undergoing a high-stakes transformation. But with a $150 million diamond on the radar and a forgotten star refusing to leave, is Liverpool's new era about to explode? Let's dive into the massive updates from the World Cup and the transfer front.
United embarrassed. Why Liverpool are snubbing Fernandes for world's best Buardi. Why settle for a great midfielder when you can sign the player destined to be the best in the world? That is the question currently echoing around the recruitment offices at Anfield. For weeks we've heard that Manchester United are closing in on an £80 million deal for West Ham's Matheus Fernandes. It felt like a blow to our own midfield plans, but the narrative has taken a massive U-turn. Liverpool are reportedly prepared to one-up their rivals by ignoring Fernandes and going all in for Lille's 18-year-old sensation, Ayoub Buardi. The backstory here is a lesson in scouting. Fernandes is a proven Premier League talent, but Buardi is a generational prospect. He became the youngest player to ever debut in a UEFA competition back in 2023 and has since become the vital engine for a Lille side that secured a Champions League spot. While United are chasing the obvious choice in Fernandes, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes are reportedly so convinced by Buardi's data that they are ready to pivot their entire midfield strategy to secure the Frenchman. The drama reached fever pitch this past weekend. While the senior France squad is at the World Cup, Buardi put in an extraordinary display on his debut against Brazil. He completed 91% of his passes and dominated the centre of the pitch against the world's most iconic footballing nation. This has sparked a conflict between Europe's elite. Real Madrid and Juventus are already preparing substantial bids. If Liverpool dither, they risk losing a player who scouts believe will define the defence-first midfielder role for the next decade. The facts are undeniable. Buardi is a statistical anomaly for his age. In the 2025-26 season, he made 34 League One appearances, showing a level of vision and composure that is unheard of for an 18-year-old. He's an elegant playmaker, but possesses the grit to win his tackles, as shown against Brazil. While United are looking to spend £80 million on Fernandes, Buardi would likely cost a similar fee, but with a significantly higher ceiling. He's the perfect signing who just announced himself to the world. Giving you my honest take, Buardi is a proper player and exactly the kind of signing that makes Manchester United look absolute rubbish in the transfer market. We need a specialist number 6, and Buardi has the swagger and technical security to thrive in Iraola's system. Fernandes is a safe bet, but Buardi is a world beater. If we beat Real Madrid and Juve to this lad, it's a massive statement of intent for the new era. Do you think we should prioritise youth like Buardi, or do we need the Premier League experience of someone like Fernandes? The £70 million exit, why Liverpool are set to sell underwhelming Gakpo to Spurs. How do you go from being a vital part of a Premier League winning side to being labelled unbelievably bad in just 12 months? That is the brutal reality facing Cody Gakpo as his future at Anfield hangs by a thread. We've seen the reports, we've heard the whispers, and now we have a price. Liverpool have reportedly slapped a £70 million valuation on the Dutch forward, a figure inspired by Anthony Gordon's massive move to Barcelona. With Tottenham and Bayern Munich both sniffing around, it feels like Gakpo's time in a red kit is coming to an abrupt and expensive end. The backstory here is a classic tale of a tactical shift leaving a player behind. In the 2024-25 title-winning campaign, Gakpo was a revelation, contributing to 25 goals. But then came the slot era. The system changed, the roles shifted, and suddenly Gakpo's strengths were nowhere to be found. Whether he was played as a central striker or out on the wing, nothing clicked. He looked like a spare part for much of the season, and with the rise of 17-year-old Rio Nu Moha, Gakpo has effectively been pushed to the periphery of the squad. The conflict is now heating up in North London. Former Reds favourite Andy Robertson is already at Spurs, and he's reportedly keen for Gakpo to join him under Roberto De Zerbi. De Zerbi is a known admirer of the Dutchman's technical ability, but the drama lies in the fee. Is Gakpo really worth £70 million after such a dismal season? Liverpool are holding firm, using the Gordon deal as their benchmark. Meanwhile, Gakpo hasn't officially handed in a transfer request, but with Bayern Munich also hovering since last summer, the tension between staying and fighting or taking a fresh start is reaching a breaking point. The facts are stark for anyone analysing Gakpo's recent output. While Mo Salah still managed 20-plus goal contributions despite Slot's lucky tactics, Gakpo was the polar opposite. He is well contracted until 2030, which gives Richard Hughes a massive amount of leverage in negotiations. However, the club's hierarchy is well aware that the attack needs a proper upgrade this summer, and cashing in on Gakpo for £70 million would be the exact war chest needed to secure elite targets like Yan Diomande or Bradley Barcola. My honest take? Selling Gakpo for £70 million would be a brilliant bit of business. He's a proper player on his day, but he clearly doesn't fit the high-intensity transitional football that Anfield responds to. Keeping him as a backup is a waste of a massive asset. If De Zerbi wants to overpay for a player out of form, we should let him. It's a risk for Gakpo to join a rival, but for Liverpool it's a necessary cull to make room for the Areola revolution. Would you be happy with £70 million for Gakpo, or do you think he deserves one last chance under the new gaffer?
Like a new signing, Isak's World Cup Masterclass proves he's Areola's £125 million secret weapon. Can a player who cost a British record £125 million really be considered like a new signing? It sounds like a bit of a cliché, doesn't it? But after watching Sweden's 5-1 demolition of Tunisia, Liverpool fans are starting to believe that Alexander Isak is the missing piece of the puzzle for Andoni Iraola's debut season. We all know the quality is there, but after a debut year on Merseyside that was completely derailed by a horrific injury, the question was always whether he could rediscover that clinical edge. Last night in North America, he didn't just find it, he absolutely brandished it for the world to see, bagging a goal and 2 assists in a man-of-the-match performance. Before now, Isak's time at Anfield has been characterised by frustration rather than fireworks. He arrived from Newcastle with the weight of that massive price tag, only to sustain a broken leg while scoring against Tottenham back in December. It was a proper gut punch for the lad and for the supporters who expected him to spearhead the attack. He finished the season lacking match sharpness, unable to leave any real mark as the previous regime struggled to find a consistent goal threat. But the context has shifted. With a new gaffer in the dugout and a full summer to recover, Isak finally looks like the lean, mean, goal-scoring machine we thought we'd bought. The conflict here isn't about his talent, it's about his durability. Isak has the quality to be worth an extra 10 points a season on his own, but his fitness has been a recurring nightmare since he signed that £125 million deal. There's a proper tension at the club. Do we build the entire tactical system around a striker who has struggled to stay on the pitch, or do we bring in reinforcements? Sweden boss Graham Potter called his latest performance fantastic, but at Liverpool the stakes are much higher. Areola needs to decide if Isak is his undisputed number 9, or if the risk of another breakdown is too high to gamble on. Let's dive into the cold, hard numbers that have Areola rubbing his eyes. Isak didn't just score against Tunisia, he created havoc, proving he's finally fit and sharp. He already has a great goal against Norway under his belt this month too, proving this wasn't a one-off. Sweden are now well placed to qualify for the knockout rounds, largely thanks to his output. At 26, Isak is entering his prime, and for a player who played so little in the 2025-26 campaign, his return to peak condition is the biggest boost the club could have asked for ahead of pre-season. My honest take, if Isak stays fit, he's a proper player who makes us title contenders. He has that elite finishing ability that can turn a draw into a win in the blink of an eye. However, relying on him without a solid backup is absolute rubbish planning. We've seen what happens when he's sidelined. The attack loses its focal point. Iraola must manage his minutes carefully, but if he gets Isak firing at Anfield like he is for Sweden, that British record fee will finally start to look like a bargain. Are you lot confident that Isak can lead us to the title, or are you still worried about his injury record?
Chiesa's shock U-turn. Why the Italian star is refusing to leave Iraola's Liverpool. Would you dig your heels in at a club where you haven't made a single start in 6 months? It sounds like a career-ending move, but for Federico Chiesa, the exit of Arne Slot has changed everything. The 28-year-old Italian winger was widely expected to return to Turin this summer, with Juventus and even Como keen on a deal. But in a massive twist that has left the Italian press stunned, Chiesa has reportedly decided he is determined to stay at Anfield and prove himself to Andoni Iraola. The context of Chiesa's struggle is quite damning. Since the turn of the year, he's been a ghost in the squad. Slot clearly didn't trust him, and Chiesa ended up regretting his decision to stay in January, when a move to Juve first felt optimistic. He's 28 now, at the peak of his powers, and he spent the last 6 months rotting on the bench. Most players would be packing their bags for regular football, but Chiesa believes the Iraola connection and a fresh tactical approach will finally unlock the player who dominated Euro 2020. The conflict here is a massive risk for both the player and the club. If Chiesa stays and fails to impress Iraola, he will have wasted even more crucial months of his career. Liverpool's hierarchy, led by Richard Hughes, might still decide to transfer list him if they need to trim the wage bill for new arrivals. The drama lies in whether Chiesa is actually Iraola-proof. The new gaffer likes high intensity and tactical flexibility, attributes Chiesa has in spades, but his lack of match rhythm is a massive concern. Let's look at the facts. Chiesa hasn't featured in a starting 11 for Liverpool in the entirety of 2026 so far. Despite this, he's refusing to listen to offers from Italy, even though a side like Como can offer him Champions League football. He's digging his heels in, unless the club explicitly tells him he's gone. It's a confusing decision for many analysts, but it shows a level of proper fight that we haven't seen from many of the fringe players recently. My honest take, I love the attitude, but it's a massive gamble. Chiesa is a proper player when fit, but we can't afford passengers in this new era. If he's truly determined to turn it around, he needs to be the hardest worker in pre-season. However, if Iraola has already earmarked someone like Jan Diomande for that wing spot, Chiesa is just delaying the inevitable. It's a bold move, but is it brave or just delusional? Do you think Chiesa can actually save his Liverpool career under Iraola, or is he just wasting time?
The $150 million diamond. Jan Diomande's World Cup Masterclass sparks record-breaking bidding war. Would you pay $150 million for a 19-year-old with just one season of top-flight experience in Germany? It sounds like a staggering gamble, but after watching Jan Diomande's performance for Ivory Coast against Ecuador, the price tag suddenly makes a lot more sense. Diomande didn't just play, he was a live wire, creating 5 chances and dominating the opposition box. Liverpool and PSG are now locked in a straight battle for a player who looks like the ultimate solution to the attacking woes of the Slot era. The backstory is a tale of rapid development. Diomande arrived at RB Leipzig from Leganes just last year, and his rise has been meteoric. Liverpool have been monitoring him as the answer to their struggle against low blocks. Last term, the Reds found it nearly impossible to break down deep-lying defences, lacking the raw speed and trickery that Diomande possesses in abundance. He doesn't rely on space in behind, he glides past defenders even when they are sat deep, making him the perfect diamond to unlock alongside Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. The conflict is now about the World Cup tax. Every time Diomande steps on the pitch in North America, his price goes up. Leipzig are already holding out for £112 million, $150 million, and they are in no rush to sell. The drama is heightened by interest from PSG and even fears from Arsenal fans that this signing could transform Liverpool into an unstoppable force. There is a risk, of course. Diomande is young and the data set on his ability is still relatively small. Is he a one-season wonder or the real deal? The facts from his World Cup debut are mouth-watering. Diomande had the most touches in the box of anyone on the field and stood up against a PSG-led defence with ease. He plays with a swagger and confidence that belies his 19 years, already drawing comparisons to club legends like Sadio Mane. While Alan Shearer says it's only a matter of time before he makes the move, the financial hurdle is massive. Liverpool have already made progress on the deal, but the competition is heating up by the day. My honest take, $150 million is a lot of quit, but Diomande is a proper player who addresses our biggest weakness. He has that X-factor trickery that we were missing in wide areas last year. If we want to move past the slot era and embrace Iriola's vision, we need these high-ceiling attackers. It's a massive risk given his inexperience, but he looks like the type of player who could define a decade at Anfield. Would you pay the record $150 million fee for Diomande, or is it too much for a teenager?